Hey, sorry, it is Gregorius. Let's get into the picks and bans here.
We have already seen a Lee Sin being taken out of this game. Lee Sin, a very powerful jungler, but not only in the jungle, but also in top and sometimes even mid lane. Very dominating force, especially if he gets a little bit ahead early on. He's so mobile, he can get really all over the map and make everything happen. So it's really interesting to see him played, and here of course he is banned out. They do not want to deal with that, do not want to deal with the mobile junglers. And the next bans were Vi and Thresh. Vi also a very powerful jungler, that assault and battery, so good for locking someone down when you come for a gank. Also late game, very powerful, just lets you get to the backline right away and get onto that enemy AD carry all the way in the back, or even the AP carry, and it's so easy to chase someone with it too, since they can't run away of course.
Yeah, definitely a viable strategy picking her up, but she has been banned, so you won't be able to do that in this game. Thresh, as you said, being banned out as well. One of the stronger supports actually at the moment. It's been strong for a while and wasn't subject to any of Riot's support changes, read nerfs, over the changes in the patch 3.14. So kept all of his kit and kept his strength that he's had for quite a while. Jack's been banned out. Jax is just a machine. Like, as long as you don't stop him early game, he is going to farm his heart out and then get really massive and snowballing into the late game. Also that Nidalee being banned out, perhaps a targeted ban at xPeke, who we've seen playing that in IEM Cologne today. Incredible play from him, and Nidalee can just do a huge amount in mid lane, so probably a targeted ban there, or just a ban because you don't like poke comps.
Indeed, Nidalee is terrifying. If she does manage to poke you down before you engage, it can be devastating, and especially Nidalee these days is under a lot of criticism, especially in the community, since she can just spam out the spears and really isn't punished for spamming spears. But as soon as a single one lands, the team fight is almost decided because somebody will be at half HP and has to go back to base, and then it's a 5v4. Kennen here, the last ban, very powerful champion if he gets farmed.
Yeah.
If he gets a couple of kills or a decent amount of farm, he can be really powerful. That ultimate's so strong in any kind of AoE team composition. He can engage with it, he can disengage with it, he can do a lot of AoE damage. It's just a very versatile champion that also works pretty well in a lot of 1v1 or 1v2 lanes. So this may actually be pertinent to a certain composition they want to pull out.
Well, I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised at all as these first couple of picks. I mean, the Nocturne is a bit odd, but Annie Caitlyn is probably one of the strongest lanes in the bottom lane at the moment in League of Legends. Such a massive amount of damage you can get out of that little girl Annie in the support role. You get extra ability power these days, especially since you've got so much extra gold as well as a support, and not having to go for all of those wards and the oracles and the vision wards as well means that you have a lot more of that moolah to play with. Do see a Nami lock-in as well. We saw Nami in the last game in the last game that I cast, not in the last game that was on this stream, but she played really well. The tidal waves were a bit hit and miss, and sometimes they can be, but if you land an Aquapism in the early game, you can help your AD carry melt someone down and they will disintegrate in front of your eyes. I promise not to sing about Nami in this game. I will choose a different champion to sing about.
Alright. If you say so. Yeah, that bubble very strong for locking someone down for a whole 1.5 seconds, but Annie of course also has a stun ult, so we'll have to see which support can get the upper hand in that bot lane. And the next pickups we see here are Renekton. Renekton, a terrifying top laner. He gets so beefy and still has so much damage. He's possibly one of the most disruptive backline divers there are in the game. He's so tanky, he has CC, he can, with his slice and dice, get all the way to the backline very quickly and just deal a ton of damage, stun up the AD carry, his dominance, dealing a lot of magic damage to everyone around him as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see how he can make this game work for him. And the picks generally from the blue team very quick here, whereas the purple team thinks a little longer, but they have locked in a Vladimir and a Nautilus here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually I can predict the mid lane pick here from the blue team. It's going to be a Noriana. If it's not, I'm going to feel bad, but that fits so well into this AoE comp that they have thus far. Nocturne jumping onto that back line with his paranoia, Renekton slicing and dicing in as well, with the shockwave and the tidal wave as well. That is going to be intense crowd control, and against this no hard CC team, that is a lot of hard CC. Maybe that's why they picked it, decided just to go as hard as they can against this red team being picked out here. The Vladimir and Nautilus picks are quite interesting actually. We see Vladimir with that Hemoplague doing a lot of AoE magic damage and enhancing the magic damage that you get out of him as well. Along with that Nautilus, he's more of sort of a supporty jungler. We see him played a lot by people like the Odd One, especially in the sort of early to mid-season 3. He'd play a lot of Nautilus and go for those ganks with the dredge line and with the depth charge, allowing you to have a lot of crowd control as the game goes on. It looks like it's going to be a Gragas. I really want them to switch to Orianna because I called that, but it is going to be a Gragas, and Gragas does provide you that level of CC as well with the explosive cask.
Yeah, but what you mentioned, the Orianna would have fit so well, and here it may actually be picked up by the enemy team. Not quite as powerful from the team composition, from the synergy between champions, but it's still very, very nice pickup for themselves, a very strong mid laner, and I'm really looking forward to see which one of these two mid laners can win out in the end. Gragas, of course, does still somewhat surprise me, because the blue team generally, Yordles and Pijamas, were a very teamfight-centric comp, and really going in there, and the Gragas cask is great for splitting the enemy team up, but with someone to keep the entire enemy team in place. For then Sivir has great AoE damage. The dominance from Renekton has a nice amount of AoE damage. If Nami lands her tidal wave onto the enemy team, that's also an AoE knockup and slow. So they had a lot of AoE elements, and then they put Gragas in there, who also does AoE damage with his explosive cask, but at the same time knocks everybody away. So it's kind of counterproductive in some engagements, but we'll have to see how well they can make that work for themselves. If he manages to get picks with that, if he manages to spot on separate the enemy team with the explosive cask, it can actually be a huge benefit for his team. It'll all come down to how they play this. And one thing that may actually be very interesting here is that there are no exhausts in this game right now. Both teams have the same amount of summoner spells, the same line of summoner spells.
They have the same amount of summoner spells on both teams. Both of them have 10 summoner spells. Someone decided not to pick a summoner spell. Sorry.
But yeah, there are 3 ignites per team.
Yeah.
A barrier apiece, and then a smite apiece. But no exhausts picked up here.
Yeah, that's kind of the current meta, really. You see these more aggressive supports, usually building out of that ability power. Annie is sort of typifying that almost season 4, pre-season 4 meta, which shows you build a lot of ability power on your support and take that ignite and go for kills. Because even if the support picks up the kills, like Edward, kill securing, so to speak, you still get a lot of extra damage out of that. And you can also, if you go for that relic shield, the support can give a lot of gold across to your AD carry. Good to see we don't have any Zacks in this game. Zac, of course, at the moment, a little bit bugged with that relic shield. If you manage to get the last hit and proc your relic shield, you give away all of the gold for the kill onto a nearby teammate, as well as taking it for yourself, and they get the assist gold as well. So good to see that Zac isn't actually in this game. Talking a little bit about explosive cast combination with this AoE composition coming out from the Yordles in Pijamas. Explosive Cask, yes, is not as good as an Orianna Shockwave, which I suggested, which was of course the best pick in the situation because I suggested it. Explosive Cask does work well though, because if you manage to displace sort of Krillzor on that Caitlyn, or even Bentoris or El Pescado on that Orianna, you're going to be able to catch them out with an Aqua Prism. You can Paranoia onto the backline with Nocturne as well, having Nocturne and Renekton pound away against that backline, while Live LoL, Nawia and Impia on Gragas, Sivir and Nami manage to catch out that one person, take them down, then pop the On the Hunt to be able to join up with their team and get to that backline.
Indeed, so it'll all come down to the way they fight in the team fights, whether Gragas can land that explosive cask in the spot he wants it to go to. But on the other team, No Hearts You See Please has a very AP-centric team. Yeah. They have an AP mid laner, an AP support, and an AP top laner. And in the end, if Caitlyn doesn't do well in her lane, it'll be fairly easy for Yordles and Pijamas to itemize for a lot of this game. Spirit Visage, a very powerful magic resist item, and Gragas quite happy to often pick up a chalice into Athene's Unholy Grail or even an Abyssal Scepter, because he goes in there very deep himself, and then having additional AP on top of that will be very nice for him. So in the end, I'm kind of scared here whether they will be able to get already kind of an advantage simply because they have superior items. However, the burst out of No Hearts CC Please will be massive. is if Vladimir puts down his Hemo Plague that amplifies his teammates' damage, then Annie comes in with the Tibbers, and then there's a Shockwave on top of that. That is so much AoE burst damage. And if Yordles and Pijamas get caught out by this, do not expect it. You know, Flash Tippers can always come out of nowhere. You can never be fully prepared for something like that. And if it happens, if No Hard CC Please gets to choose their team fight like that, it can be devastating for Yordles and Pijamas.
It really, really can. We see all of the gold borders being brought out by this team, one silver border on each team, El Pescado and Nawia proudly owning those ones. Obviously with Season 3 coming to a close really recently, people have been spamming those solo queue games, making it very much a YOLO queue, and just hoping to be able to get to the leagues that they want. Level 1 action. We haven't really talked about it a lot. We've talked a lot about the late game team fights, Grey Goose. What do you think about Level 1 action? How do you think it's going to go down, really?
It's going to be very interesting. I'd say the crowd control advantage definitely goes to Team Yordles and Pijamas. However, if it does end up being a level 1 engagement, I'm not sure if they will still win out. They have the possibility of getting a Fury on Nocturne, they have the Aqua Prison on Nami, they have a stun on Renekton if he skills it, and then they have the Boomerang Blade on Sivir plus a Barrel on Gragas. So that's a nice amount of AoE damage, especially the Boomerang Blade on Sivir does a lot of early game damage with very little attack damage already.
Yeah.
Especially because it also deals damage to everyone it hits, so possibly to the entire enemy team. However, on the other side, Annie will surely charge up her stun before any engagement goes down, and then Nautilus has a hook to CC someone, but most importantly, Orianna and Caitlyn both have scouting abilities. So they have the trap, and they have the ball to put down in bushes, and kind of look for that early engagement, and if, you know, Yordles and Pijamas try to go for a level 1 engagement, but walk over one of these scouting things, everything can be thwarted, or with superior positioning, even turned around by No Hard CC Please.
It's going to be really interesting to see how the sort of original fights come out, the initial fights in this game. Caitlyn has decided just to come across here and protect it. Hasn't actually leveled up a skill yet. Usually, well, I say usually, sometimes you can see Caitlyn's go for that Yordle Snapchat at level 1 just to be able to give you that little bit of extra vision, the little bit of extra map presence early game, but they do have the command attack coming out from Orianna, and we see that ball right in that bush there, zooming in on it. A couple of flies dancing around it, but the ball is going to keep them safe. It looks like both teams have decided just to stay safe, protect both of their buffs, the red buff being protected by Sivir and Nami. Vladimir here for the No Hard CC team, protecting across his red with red, so to speak. Nice protection across there, and actually quite a red theme going through the No Hard CC team with Vladimir, of course, Annie being quite red, Caitlyn not so much red, purple, which does have a lot of red in it, Nautilus almost rusted to a reddish colour, and Orianna on the red team, so red.
Close enough.
Close enough. We do see a Trinket Ward coming out here next to Vladimir. They are going to spot him out if he decides to walk away from that bush. But the thing about that is that the Trinkets give a lot of map vision early, and so we are seeing less and less sort of early game invades do start being... You are able to use them after 90 seconds, and actually an interesting mastery pickup here. We saw Rushor there with a little bit of a shield on that Nautilus, so he's gone for that runic shield mastery, giving him a 50 HP shield every time he goes back to base. Oh no, respawns every time he dies.
Every time he respawns, exactly. But what I think really interesting here is there have been 3 trinkets introduced in the last patch, as an Aqua Prison lands in the bot lane already. A
little bit of damage going down was Quizzle.
But what I wanted to say is there have been 3 trinkets introduced. However, only a single one is used in this entire game so far. Every one of these champions has gone for the warding trinket. They want the additional vision. They don't really care about disabling a ward. And what many people have said is, you know, sweeping lance is only good for clearing a ward. Those people haven't really understood how that trinket works, because it disables the vision, and even though if you move your map to currently look at the ward where you disabled it, if you just keep walking through it, the enemy will not see you on the minimap. So they will only see you as soon as you attack the ward, and until then you are completely invisible, and it's actually a great ganking tool, however many people don't utilize it that way. Yeah. Now, in this game though, of course, we haven't seen anyone pick that up. Maybe at some point it'll be trending. Oh my god.
so much damage in the bot lane. Ignite's gone down onto Live He's popped the barrier. Quicksort flashing in to try and get the kill, but he's not going to be able to do it. And he's going to pick it up. The ebb and flow heals him up just through that Ignite damage. Ventur's taken down a little bit. Aquapism actually missing there. And they're going to have to back away. Everyone went very low there. A couple of flashes used from the No Hard CC team. Really, really close fight there.
Indeed it was. My Spectator overlay took a little long to take me down to that fight, so I didn't see it just yet. However, no kill has happened yet. They don't want to let up on this aggression. So much trading.
Yeah, you want to be trading early if you're playing an Annie, Caitlyn bot lane. You've got that extra range. You have the ability to do a lot of damage with that Annie as well. Getting her stun up every few spells, so not a couple of spells, and that's really going to help you out in bottom lane if you want to play that harass heavy early game. We had to see Sivir backing all the way back. That pack Sivir skin looking beautiful in the sunlight of the Rift, or the moonlight. I don't actually know what time of day it is on the Rift. I'm going to say sunlight of the Rift, and he's going to be able to get some damage down, get the CS, and catch back up. About 5 CS behind at the moment. One thing I did notice was the double runic shield coming out here from the No Hard CC team.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting pickup there.
And that's why this early game is so interesting, because they picked up the double relic shield, and they'll be trading back and forth a lot of gold with that. And generally, one of the reasons why people say it's bad on the AD carry is Nautilus is actually here for the gank.
Nautilus coming in bot lane. Oh, flash away from the dredge line. Beautifully done there by the Nami, managing to dodge away from that one, yeah. The relic shield's actually already gotten 200 gold in this bottom lane. Huge amounts for this early in the game.
Exactly, and that's why generally people say it's bad for the AD carry because it costs you so much early game power, but they've avoided this completely. They've traded so well that everything's still fine despite sacrificing the early game power of Sivir having Adorn's Blade and Caitlyn only having health and health regen. However, they're still winning the lane so far. I mean, now after this trading business, Sivir is currently 4 CS up on her, but that does not decide the lane, and so far, pressure-wise, Caitlyn and Annie have definitely been ahead.
That they have. They have, however, burnt the flash on both Caitlyn and on Annie. Barrier still available for Caitlyn. However, Live LoL on that Sivir has burnt his barrier, so going to be trying to flash away from those stuns as opposed to using the barrier to sustain up through them. It's going to be interesting. We do still see the ignite there on Noia on Nami. That's really, really strong, and it's going to get you a lot of damage in the bottom lane. And people underestimate the amount of damage you can do with an ignite.
Indeed, as we actually see in the top lane, a pretty big advantage already developing in favor of Vladimir. He's currently 21 CS up, 22 now, up on Renekton. And if he can snowball that a little bit further for himself and even maybe get a little bit of jungle pressure, as Nocturne comes in for a gank here.
Yeah, here comes the dank. He's going to try and get that fear off. Dustbringer is out. He's gone into that Sanguine Pool, but gets speared. Random number generation not in favor here of Yordles in Pijamas. Going to knock him back towards his tower and keep him safe, yeah. As you were saying, the CS advantage is very big for Vladimir across this Renekton, but he is ranged and does have those Tides of Blood and the Transfusion as well, so quite easy for him to last hit. Renekton struggles a little bit versus ranged champions.
Yeah, he does, and still, even when he doesn't get that farm right away, if he manages to pick up farm as the game goes on, he can still be a very dominant force, especially towards the mid and even late game. Now, Vladimir, I would almost say crucial for the AoE success of his team's composition, because they're so AoE centric, and that Hemo Plague increasing the damage by 20% as we actually see a lot of people in the top lane here. Yeah,
Nautilus is going to get caught out here by Nocturne and Gragas. He's been ignited. Explosive Cast is up. He flashes across the wall. There's the Explosive Cast. Oh, he manages to hit him with the Body Slam, and Manu on that. Vladimir is going to get taken very low as well. Explosive Cast is no longer there. Sanguine Pool. There is a level 5. Renekton has just hit level 6, however, so he's got that dominance available. He might decide to tower dive this. No, just going to have the rest of his team back away. They are happy with that first blood.
And really, the reason why that worked was Gragas stuck around mid lane for a while, pushed that into the tower. Orianna went back, and then Gragas was able to move up to the top lane, just roam all over, make that kill happen for himself. He did burn his flash and his ignite, but for a kill, he will be very happy to do this. He just went back, picked up that Chalice of Harmony.
Oh, Renekton taking really low in the top lane as part of the Dominus. Sorry, Hemoblade's popping on him. There's the ignite. He tags up a tower shot too many and goes down. Did not need to get in range of that tower shot. The ignite would have killed Vladimir. No auto attacks coming out from Renekton at the end, but just overstepping the mark a little bit, and they're not seeing that imaginary line in the grass of the Rift.
It's a shame he went down, but in the end that was a very, very close fight, and for Renekton, who was theoretically down on CS and on lane pressure, to still come out with a 1-for-1 trade, I would almost say he's happy with that. I think all he wants to do is become tankier and beefier, and then be that backline disruptor that we talked about during Champ Select that he wants to be for his team. So I don't think he minds too much trading 1-for-1, since overall it'll still give him a nice little, a nice little chunk of gold for him. However, we do now see a 500 gold advantage in favor of no hard CC, please. It's not that much at the almost 9-minute mark. Anything can still happen, but it's definitely, an inkling of what could happen here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is going to be off that relic shield in the bottom lane. If we have a quick look at how much gold that has garnered, Caitlyn has got 306 gold off that, and Annie has got 374, and that's 600 gold. So if those relic shields hadn't been bought up, the gold would be even at the moment.
Exactly, and in the end, as we keep going with this game, that gold will only increase, and it's something that really Yordles and Pijamas have to overcome.
Orianna's getting engaged upon here. Nice spell shield of the shockwave. The fear comes out as well. Oh, Pescado on the Orianna getting taken really low. There's the paranoia. Oh, she flashes and manages to pick up that kill. Paranoia not connecting on anyone. Impala's coming in. The barrel roll is going to miss. There's the depth charge as well. It looks like El Pescado will be able to pick up this kill. No, it's going to be the Nautilus with that red buff. There's the hammer in your face. Or the anchor in your face. Picking up that one, and that was a beautiful 2-for-0 exchange there on the side of no hard CC.
And in the end, the reason it was possible was because, first of all, Gragas and Nocturne went very, very deep onto Orianna. There was a beautiful spell shield from Nocturne to keep himself safe for the first little bit, but then all of a sudden Gragas used his explosive cask, and it actually knocked Orianna towards Nocturne. Then she could kill him, flashed further away, and Gragas did not have a flash left for himself to follow up or escape from that. Because he had already used it in top.
Dominus is popped in top lane. Renekton's going in. He has got rid of that Hemoplague. Sanguine Pool coming out from Vladimir as well. He's going to tank that up with the Dominus. Not really doing as much damage as you'd expect. I think Vladimir really thought he could win out that fight, not realizing that the Dominus was available. Renekton also has Ignites in about 15 seconds. Slice and Dice is going to go in. Ruthless Predator. The trinket came down in the bush. Nice vision giving there, but you see something and it kills you. Probably not worth it there.
Both of them actually having their flashes up but deciding not to use them. Vladimir, of course, I'm not sure whether he reacted a little late, but him going down in the top lane means that there is so much map pressure open for no hard CC. Actually, I mean, Nocturne getting caught here.
Yeah, he's going to spell shield up that ace in the hole. They'll be able to escape away from it, and Dragon has been going across towards that no hard CT team. They are now 2,000 gold in the lead, or 1,800 gold in the lead actually, but almost 2,000 ahead, and it's only 11 minutes in the game. They can get some more objectives. They'll be able to snowball this one away from the Yordles in Pijamas.
I mean, it's really a nice move by them. There was all this action in their top lane. Renekton even took down Vladimir, and they said, well, it's a shame about our top lane. Let's just move down to the bottom lane and take up Dragon. Pick up Dragon for our team, get that gold advantage in our favor despite losing a kill top. And it's beautifully done there, and now Vladimir is back at the top lane, keeps farming himself up, and, the advantage, as you mentioned, is snowballing further and further ahead.
Nami getting taken very low in the bot lane, pops out that tidal wave, Ignite is ticking on her. Here comes Caitlyn as well, she's also attacking her way to victory. There's the Boomerang Blade, almost taken down, she manages to get the kill with that peeled over Peacemaker nicely. On the hunt was available from Sivir and might have actually saved her support there. Would have been interesting to see if they'd gone in for that all-in, they would have got the gank off. And here comes Nautilus into the top lane, he's going to go into Renekton's face, he's going to slice and dice away. That dredge line is beautiful, Ignite's gone down, he's popped the Dominus though, going to heal up through that one. The dredge line is coming out any second now, and there goes the kill on to Vladimir. Nautilus tanking up that tower really nicely. Gragas, however, is coming into the bot lane, going to try and get onto this, and he has to back away, not able to get close enough to pop out that explosive cask.
And in the end, what happened down there in the bot lane was neither Sivir nor Nami used their summoner spells. And it just decided to fight against them because there was so much damage coming out of Annie and Caitlyn, the Tibbers, and the Ignite beautifully placed from Annie there. Completely caught Nami off guard, got her very, very low, and Sivir had a couple of very nice spell shields in that fight. saving her from taking too much damage. That way she could also save her barrier. But if Nami had flashed, maybe she could have survived. If, as you mentioned, on the hunt was popped, that would have maybe saved her. But Nami was very low on mana and did not manage to survive that engagement. Beautifully played there by Annie and Caitlyn, realizing their window of opportunity and going for it and just taking them down. Is Nocturne maybe looking to steal away the blue buff here?
Yeah, he's going to gather around that along with Gragas. They're going to try and take it away, but Orianna, Caitlyn, Annie, and Nautilus are all in the area. This is not the smartest idea. Dredgeline onto that blue buff, going to try and take that one for himself. Explosive Cast is up for Gragas though, and he might be able to steal this one away. Caitlyn and Annie have come across onto this Nocturne. There's a flash in as well. Here comes Sivir from the bottom of the map. Paranoia's come out. Aqua Prism landing actually there onto Annie. I'd expect to see an engage here, but they're going to back away from Nautilus. A barrel roll coming across the wall, not going to be able to get the connection. Expected to see the Nocturne go in there when he hit that Paranoia, but decided against it. Wanted to stay nice and safe on the back line of his own team.
I guess he was just, he was trying to save himself. He didn't want to go back into the entire enemy team, so he popped the Paranoia, denying the Vision. Vision, a very underrated form of crowd control, basically. Or Vision denial, rather. So I really like the Smoke Bomb from Graves, the Paranoia out of Nocturne, because it takes Vision away from the enemy team, and it's crucial in some of these engagements, and I think that was a large factor why No Hard CC didn't follow up the early advantage they would have had for that fight, because they had the positioning on the enemy team. Gragas was a little bit split off. They were all bunched up, and they had a stun on Nocturne initially, and had already popped it on the hunt, but they decided not to follow it up any further, and instead both of these teams just backing off, disengaging. But Yordles in Pijamas really showing a lot of respect there, backing up very, very early from that Nocturne.
Ooh, Shockwave coming out mid lane, the Ignite has gone down, there's the Explosive Cast to get rid of them all. Nautilus is around, has got that depth charge up if he wanted to use it, but Nocturne came across and kept them nice and safe. Nicely done by him to be able to save his mid lane. Explosive Cast was really well used there as well.
In the end, Orianna currently had an item advantage on Gragas. She had the Athene's Unholy Grail already. Gragas only just picked this up. He didn't have that before yet. And Orianna already has another Amp Tome and a Doran's Ring. So
Renekton getting caught out of position in the top lane. Dredgeline's come across. There's the depth charge as well, and it looks like he's going to go down. Pops the Dominus, but Vladimir's on the other side of the wall. Tries to slice and dice through. Nautilus getting that kill. He is doing really well, counter jungling and managing to pick up kills as he goes along.
And that's something that happens when the top tower goes down. It opens up the top half of the enemy jungle, and it enabled Nautilus to just walk around there. Orianna pushed her mid lane as well because Gragas had to go back after that engagement, and then she was able to move now over there, pick up that blue buff for herself, so they stole that away. Very, very nicely done there. And Vladimir pushing down the top tower, then putting on more pressure, and Renekton getting caught out in his own jungle. That's not something you want to happen when you can't move safely in your own jungle anymore. There's something wrong, as Gragas and Orianna may actually meet here.
Yeah, Gragas had tried to go across towards that bottom lane to get the gank off, but there's a nice ward position there by No Hard CC, please. Going to be able to spot him out. And actually, Vladimir joining in the counter-jungling train here. Going to be able to pick up these wolves, just denying that a little bit more from Nocturne.
Caitlyn and Sivir, actually, both of them going for the same item builds aside from that Relic Shield. And something that's interesting here is that Caitlyn deciding not to upgrade the Relic Shield is all, whereas Annie upgraded hers very, very early, so she gives a lot more gold over the Caitlyn now.
Yeah, huge amounts of gold. There's actually a bit of an engage in mid lane. Damage coming down. There's the Paranoia onto El Pescado. He's going to get caught out. Dustbringer coming out. The Fear actually feeling him towards tower. Ignite. Explosive Cuts manages to pick up the kill. Nicely done by him. Renekton is having to juke away in the top lane, but manages to escape nice and safely. Nautilus trying to chase him, but that slice and dice is just a bit too far away for him to be able to catch up.
And that kill was crucial for Yordles and Pijamas. They need these couple of pickups in order to snowball themselves back in this game. It is currently 4-6 and Renekton's chasing Vladimir.
Yeah, Hemoplague coming down onto Renekton's face, but Hemoplague really is a skill that you want to follow up with more damage. If you don't have any more damage coming down onto the champion, you don't get most of Hemoplague's benefit with that extra magic damage at the end of its duration, so not really the best use of it there. Gonna keep Vladimir nice and safe. He's decided to back away. Has got his Zhonya's Hourglass now. Big first item for him after that Hex Tech Revolver, which gives him that little bit of spell vamp. Sometimes you see the Spirit of the Elder Lizard coming out from Vladimir's, but with its recent changes, I can understand why he didn't decide to build that.
Exactly, the preseason changes made it a lot more unattractive for Vladimir, especially, but also all other AP top laners. It's now the Dragon being taken away here by Yordles and Pijamas. Very nicely done there, putting on a lot of map pressure. And seeing the window of opportunity, barely picking it up, managed to get away before the enemy team was able to collapse. But as you mentioned, the Zhonya's Hourglass stun on Vladimir. He is clearly going for a team fight style Vladimir, and it's going to be so powerful if he manages to sit in the enemy team and first has that invulnerability with the Sandrine Pool, and then has the Zhonya's Hourglass for another invulnerability on top of that. These mid laners mirroring their builds, both of them have a needlessly large rod and that Athene's Unholy Grail. Whereas in the bot lane, actually, Caitlyn went for the Bloodthirster and has now picked up a pickaxe and a longsword, so she may actually be looking to get a quick Last Whisper, basically going for that Legolas build, do as much damage with your Pult over Peacemakers as possible, sustain off of the waves that you're pushing. Whereas Sivir was basically looking like she wanted to do the same thing, but then instead of actually picking up the Bloodthirster now, she went and picked up another pickaxe. So she may actually be looking to get that Infinity Edge first, which of course on Sivir is a very nice item as well. See, fight him in.
Yeah, Depth Charge coming in along with that Shockwave, and Parlovit's out of position here. Here comes Vladimir from the side. Oh, nice flash away. Use of the body slam, but Vladimir coming in, flashes in, picks up the kill, and there's a kill in bot lane. Meanwhile, Nami getting melted down with that Tibbers. So much damage coming out from Annie support, and we talked about this, just with Sorcerer's Shoes, is going to be outputting a huge amount of DPS.
That was a lot of some...
Oh, Hemoplay coming down in mid lane. Silent Moo actually flashing away from that one. Really nicely done by him, actually, managing to avoid that one.
Nocturne almost got taken out there. He went solo, he got caught out, and then the Hemoplague luckily not hitting him anymore. Getting away from that just barely, and now they're going to be able to push down on this inner middle tower as well. And this is not boding well at all for Yordles and Pijamas. They have to regain some, basically some sense of map vision.
Yeah, and it looks like Renekton's going to engage. He's popped that Dominus. He's going onto the backline. Ignite on him. There's the tidal wave, but Renekton is almost down in the backline. Ace in the hole going to pick up Nami. No, it's Ben Norris on that Annie. Here comes Gragas. He's going to try and get this damage down. Has got explosive cast, and this is a perfect position to use it in. Slowed down a little bit by that Drunken Rage, trying to get some alcohol in his stomach. Needs to be manly in this next bit of the fight, so not actually going to go engage. He got really close, and I would have liked to see an explosive cast, but wasn't quite able to get into range.
That explosive cask would have certainly changed a couple of things. He would have definitely been able to pick up 1 or 2 kills, but as it stands now, with the No Hard CC Please team being so low, they had to back off for the time being, but now they're back. And if they get another kill here...
Ooh, Shockwave there onto Gragas, and he's going to have to use the body slam to get away. Under tower, that's really nicely done by Pescado, although didn't really burn anything out of his opposing mid laner.
No, it did not, but in the end, they were currently under siege at their mid tower. They wanted the enemy team to back off for the time being. And even though Renekton now pushing that lane again, they're probably going to be able to pick up that middle tower as Orianna's over at her blue buff, picking that up for herself. For that time being, she just wanted them gone, because now they can actually still defend it, and they didn't lose anything in that push despite it being very dangerous for them. And they still have all the advantages. Despite them going low, there was nothing Yordles and Pijamas were able to do to capitalize off of that. Dragon will be up in another couple of minutes, and that will be another, focal point for another fight. But as it stands right now, No Hard CC Please definitely have the overall map advantage. They've already taken 3 towers out. They're 9-4 up in kills. They've got a nice 5,900 gold lead for themselves, and they've got the item advantages across every single lane. And if they manage to keep this up, they'll just be able to dominate the rest of this game as well, and just slowly, methodically crush Yordles and Pijamas by rotating from tower to tower to tower, taking and picking up objectives in between. Last time the Dragon went over to Yordles and Pijamas, it's back up in 2 minutes. But even that was very, very close. No Hard CC Please, just a couple of seconds too late in order to contest that. If they pay more attention this time around, they can actually take it for themselves. Renekton here, not in the best position, very, very deep there. May get caught out, but it does look like he's going to be safe.
Slice and dice, just one of those skills that lets you get out of probably some of the worst positions in League of Legends, just round that Baron buff where the mid laners can come up and where the top laners can converge on you. We do see a 5-man push here coming down the mid lane by Yordles and Pijamas. They're being held off by 4 men at the moment. El Manu on that Vladimir up in the top lane, split pushing to his heart's content. One of the things Vladimir's really good at with that Tides of Blood, getting a lot of life back and being able to clear waves exceptionally quickly. Does look like Yordles and Pijamas are going to try and come across to the side. There is a ward there, however, and they're going to be spotted out. Nautilus is waiting in this bush. If someone comes back round, they might be able to catch him out.
They might be able to indeed. It's a very bold move here. Vladimir staying up in that top lane, split pushing a bit. He would have to be with his team. He doesn't have any skill to go over there, and he waited around in that tri-bush for a little bit. Is now going back to the top lane. Is this tower in the mid lane probably going to go down here? Yes, it will. Vladimir's still top. Yordles and Pijamas have to do something about this.
Really nicely done by the No Hard CT team. They pulled everyone up into that top lane with Vladimir split pushing, put them out of position by waiting in that bush, meaning they had to go all the way around, which allowed them to get the last few auto attacks onto that tower. Actually, Vladimir getting engaged upon here. He's got that explosive cask on him as well, and the ignite is ticking. Should be a nice easy kill. Impia picking up that one, engaging mid lane onto the Renekton as well. Annie is facing off against Caitlyn. Death charge coming onto Renekton. He's popped the Dominus. He's going to go down, actually missing the flash. Look at this Annie against Sivir, one-on-one, taking it down to really low health. Paranoia coming onto Annie here, and she's going to get the command protect. Ace in the hole coming out, almost taking down Nocturne. Nami is here, actually dodges out of that shockwave. Really nicely done by her. They do get the kill from that Caitlyn, picking up that Nami really nicely. Going to be able to push down this tower, and really good trades there.
And that's the reason why I don't think Vladimir even minded dying in top lane. He had two people coming for him, Nami and Gragas. Meanwhile, the rest of his team killed the enemy tank. Annie having to flash away there, very nice. Nicely done, dodging out of that Baron, kind of scared there. But they killed the enemy team's tank. That enabled them, in turn, to then move over and pick up some of the squishies. They killed... I mean, look at Nocturne. Nocturne wants to dive into the backline of the enemy team. He does not have items. He does not have survivability. He's at a mere, what, 1,000, not even 1,500 health. All he has is the Wriggled Slant and the Mercury Treads and a Negatron Cloak. He is not where he needs to be for his team to succeed, and with all this loss of map vision that just keeps going, they've lost another dragon. And it's not looking like they can grasp it back. Orianna's about to get her Zanya's Hourglass. Vladimir is looking to build Liandry's Torment. All of these champions just getting more and more items, and No Hard CC Police definitely not letting up on the pressure at all. They've already done an okay amount of damage in the top lane, with Vladimir keeping that wave pushed so often. And if they can keep doing this, all they have to do is rinse and repeat what they've been doing for the past couple of minutes.
Yeah, they're really in the ascendancy at the moment. The Aegis being picked up there onto Nautilus, already upgraded into the Locket. That's going to give all of that extra magic resist coming out to his team. And one interesting thing is, we don't actually see an Aegis being picked up by the Yordles and Pijamas team. We talked about how much ability power damage, how much magic damage is coming out here from the No Hard CC team. I would have expected a Locket or an Aegis a little bit quicker, really. Being able to get that aura of magic resist for your team is very strong, especially with a team fighting team that we see coming out of the Yordles and Pijamas setup.
And I think that's in part because nobody on Yordles and Pijamas has the gold they want. They're not individually tanky enough to think about what they can do for their team. Nocturne, as I mentioned, not even 1,500 gold. He can think about picking up an aura item that costs 2,000 gold. He doesn't even have his core basic items. Renekton, basically the same. He's picked up the Spirit Visage, doesn't have a Sunfire cape yet. He's still very squishy, even though he's the tankiest champion on his team. He's not where he wants to be, so he's not thinking about picking up an Aegis as well. Aegis either. And then Nami, also more worrying about herself. She's got that Nomad's Medallion, giving her about 500 gold, no 600 gold throughout the entirety of this game so far, and a Chalice of Harmony to keep her mana level up. But she does not have the gold either to pick up an entire Aegis. She hasn't gotten the assist. She's 0-4-1. Just hasn't got the gold. And this is just another advantage that's snowballing so hard into No Hard CC Please's favor. 3 items on the 80 carries. If we just compare those two, Caitlyn has 3 completed items, plus a gold sharing item for her support, plus all the gold that Annie shared with her, which at this point has risen up to 956. She's almost at the 1,000 gold mark for the 80 carry at 27 minutes into the game. It's crazy. And then, I mean, Sivir, on the other hand, has a Bloodthirster, which she did pick up in the end. She did not go for the Infinity Edge. A little bit of attack speed with the Zeal and nothing else, as here's another engagement with the red team, actually moving in. I don't know, probably going to be pushing in onto that inhibitor tower since they've already got that down, and now they want the inhibitor that is open and free for the taking.
So much damage onto Nami there though. She really out of position. She went round the side towards her red buff and tried to keep herself safe, but coming back into the sort of inhibitor region from that direction meant that she was all under the damage. And here comes the engage with Paranoia. There's a Tibbers onto Nocturne. He has to flash away. Tidal Wave coming in as well. When Nectar's trying to tank up this backline, he has popped Dominus. But let's look across here. The depth charge onto Sivir. She goes down. It's Vladimir just doing huge amount of damage. Zon using the explosive cast. Here comes the ace in the hole from downtown. Picking up that kill. But Nectar going down in the backline. Only picking up no one. Only picking up no one, apparently. Very English much wow.
And yeah, that is exactly what I mentioned. The item advantage was so huge for no hard CC please. Yordles and Pijamas recognized that they had to make a final stand. Nocturne getting taken out there. They had to make a final stand there in front of their base, and they tried it. They had a decent engagement with Nocturne diving into the backline, but he was so squishy he had to flash back out. Then Renekton went in, but even he could not stand against the combined damage of Annie, Orianna, and Caitlyn. Meanwhile, in their own base, Nautilus and Vladimir took apart the entire enemy team. Beautifully done there. Very nicely played by No Hard CC, please, and closing out the game with an almost 15,000 advantage, 16-5 in kills, 7-1 in towers, just dominating pretty much the entire team after getting ahead a bit in the early game. Vladimir in that top lane, Caitlyn and Annie getting that advantage in the bottom lane despite the Relic Shield start that sometimes puts your AD carry behind. They were just able to make everything work for them, had an advantage, and then snowballed off of that. They just moved along with the momentum that they gained, with the advantages they had. Beautifully done by them.
Yeah, really nicely played by them. We are going to be back with the second semi-final really shortly, so give us a quick second just to get some drinks on board, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I've been Sona, my co-caster has been Grey Goose. You can find us on Twitter at TheOnlySona and at Grey Goose, and we'll be right back with the second